Hey, I'm Andy Slade.
I'm Bryan Lewis. We're with PrecisionRifle101.com.
We're out here today to talk about some props that you might see at a match. Many times guys practice the props. You'll see guys that'll buy tires, they'll build barricades, which I have nothing against, but at the end of the day, it's all about a couple things. One, how high is it off the ground? And two, is it a positional shot or a modified prone shot?
For sure. So here we've got a couple of examples. Again, as Andy said, you want to check height. So a lot of times what you'll see us do is kind of walk up and see, well, where does that hit me on my leg? What have I practiced off of that before? So Andy's going to shoot here off of these couple of tires. He's going to know, okay, well, this hits me right here about mid-thigh. That's it's a good kind of hunched over, like leaned over, probably standing shot, or maybe even a kneeling shot if you're a taller person. But you know, again, whether you shot off of something that height or not. And like Andy mentioned, modified prone, you've got plenty of real estate here. So you've got bipod in the front, big reeser bag in the back, something to get really nice and solid and hunkered down on to where the rifle's not going to move, and again, just going to be a rock solid position.
Now, moving over to this tire, when we're looking at this, okay, it might look kind of intimidating, especially if it's your first match and the match director says you need to shoot off of this. What many guys will do is they'll look at it and say, well, maybe if I do it just right, I can get my bipods on here and I can get a rear bag in and I can make this work as modified prone. While I tend to agree that it's possible, many times I don't think that that might be the best way to do it. One, you're going to eat up a lot of time, and two, it might just be your rifle's not going to be canted to center, it's not going to be level, in other words, and it might just be better to go ahead and shoot this as a positional shot. Now, one thing that's going to make that difference is how much time do I have, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then how big are the targets? So many times if the match director knows that this is intended to be shot as a positional shoot, they're going to make the target a little bit bigger. So they might have two targets down there. One might be for, they might not even tell you, but they'll say you can engage the targets in any order, but you can only shoot 2 rounds per target per position. So say there was a small target and a larger target. What I can do is I can shoot the smaller target off of the modified prone and then quickly move over and shoot off of the positional shot using my game changer bag because it's a bigger target and I'm trying to get through the time limits.
For sure. One thing too Andy touched on is you might think, okay, well, maybe I can get modified prone here on this other prop. If that tire was more straight vertical, it might be a little bit easier, but since that tire is on an angle, it makes things a lot tougher. I've done it before, and one of the things I've personally run into when you try to get modified prone on something like that, and it's so awkward, and the big knobs of the tires are just so weirdly placed. A lot of times you might get solid for one shot, but if you got them take another one, the rifle's recoiled and moved just enough to where you got to readjust it again and get back on target, and again, that's going to eat up time.
Now, one thing that we need to look at when we're shooting off of a positional prop is how do we set our bag and what kind of bags do we use? You know, Bryan and I are proponents of the Game Changer. We don't sell them, we don't make any money off of them, but the thing about them is they're so versatile. So, you know, what you'll see though is a new guy will come up and he'll think that he needs to put it on the prop like this because that's how the Game Changer is shaped. Well, the way that this bag helps you out is it gives you that flat surface. So on a barricade, what it was designed for is it goes on the barricade like this, and then your rifle sits on that flat surface. So you've got this much real estate for your rifle to sit on, and it gets nice and level. Well, when we go to a uneven surface like this, the way that I like to do it, and I've seen Bryan do it this way in the past as well, is you set the Game Changer on its side. So then it's supple enough that it takes up the differences in the prop, but you still have that nice flat surface. Whereas if we were to set it like this, it'll be all rocking around. And if we set it like this, we've only got a little bit of real estate to set it on. So by laying it on its side like this, I can get a nice level platform to shoot off of, and I think that we're going to be able to get some good hits in over here.
Right on. Let's send a couple rounds and see what happens.
All right. So the target distance is 430 yards, and I'm actually going to start standing like we would in a match just so you can kind of see how I approach this. As you may have seen in our other videos, I'm going to try to get that eyes muzzle target as I go into the target. I'm going to get my natural point of aim established by doing that, so I'm straight to the rifle, my shoulders are square to the rifle, and the rifle straight at the target.
So Andy's, again, like he said, is kind of the way you would be starting a match. So he's got everything ready, bolt back, mag inserted. His bipod is where he wants it. Got that preset to where he thinks it's going to be a good height. His dope's on the gun, parallax is set, all that stuff. Scope caps are open. He's ready to go. So that way when the RO asks him, shooter, are you ready? You understand the course of fire, everything, he's good to go, ready to rock and roll. So go ahead and show us how it's done, brother. So again, modified prone. Notice he's got bipod up front, bag in the rear. He's got the rifle nice and level. Nice impact, 430 yards. This is a perfect kneeling position for Andy. It's a great height for him and works very well. Somebody shorter might would have shot it standing, more leaned over, but for Andy it was great kneeling. Now you see him, game changer on the side here. Nice impact. What you can't see behind here, his legs are splayed very wide, bones locked, or bone support, knees locked, and that gives him just rock solid standing support. Impact. So again, just a rock solid position using that game changer on its side. Just again, not necessarily free recoil in the rifle, putting just enough shoulder into the gun to where the gun's going to recoil into him. He's going to be able to absorb that impact and see that, or absorb that recoil and see that impact.
All right.
How'd that feel, bud?
I think it was pretty good. You know, the first shot, maybe I didn't have quite enough shoulder on it. I missed, I mean, I hit the target, but I missed seeing my impact.
Right.
And, you know, that's why we're out here training, right? So maybe the second shot, I just, you know, made sure I had just a little bit more touching my shoulder, and I was able to see that round go out and impact the target. Awesome. One thing, too, is we just need to make sure that we're not maxed out on zoom, especially if you're not practiced in that position with absorbing that recoil. I was on about 15 power, which is about where I normally run a positional stage, but you know, we're all apprentices in a in a craft that has no masters, so
that's for sure.
We're out here practicing and getting it in. If you have any more questions about anything like this, feel free to shoot us an email at info@precisionrifle101.com. Again, I'm Andy Slade.
I'm Bryan Lewis, and we appreciate you guys watching. Hope this helped you a lot, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, guys.